Imagine a world where dragons walk among us, wearing impenetrable scale armor. In this realm, a young protagonist embarks on a seemingly simple mission, to investigate an alchemist's store abandoned 100 years ago. What his master did not tell him is that this task would be fraught with unsuspected dangers, and an encounter with a mythical creature will change his destiny forever. While walking along dangerous cliffs, an oversight costs him dearly. He ends up falling off the cliff and seriously injuring himself. Before passing out, he sees the silhouette of what appears to be a dragon. It would probably be eaten. Opening his eyes, he wonders aloud if he is still alive. A voice tells him that he is, that although he hurt his shoulder and legs, he managed to keep it alive. The strange creature, which looks like a half-human and half-dragon experiment, asks him why he was in this place. In a serious voice, she asks him if he is a thief in search of treasure. If that is the case, she will eliminate him. Frightened, he tells her to wait, that he was only looking for healing flowers and minerals. He lies, telling her that he doesn't know anything about it. Hearing this, the dragon homunculus tells him to stay here for a while he heals, but on one condition. Approaching, she tells him that in exchange for his medical treatment, she wants him to become her husband while he is there.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
He doesn't know what to say. Later, we assume he said yes, because we are shown how she prepared a lot of food for him. The boy says he can't eat. The creature interprets this to mean that since he is badly injured he can't eat, so she tries to feed him personally. Giving him the food, she asks if it is tasty. As she chews it she can feel it crunch and a sour taste. It didn't taste good, but I couldn't tell her that. God knows what he would do to her if he pissed her off, so with a nervous smile he tells her it is delicious. She notices and is disappointed, saying it really can't taste good. He tried to make the recipe from a book, but it looks like it was a failure. He asks her to be honest even if it was wrong. She tells him she wants to know what things he likes because it is a wife's duty to know what her husband likes, or so the books say. She tells him she is happy since he was considerate of her, but since he lied to her and told her she was delicious, now she will have to eat it all, so open your mouth, honey. Already in his room, we see how he is about to burst from having eaten so much. Without realizing it, the dragoness was in front of him. Apparently, she wants to sleep with him. That's what couples do, right? He had read it in a book. He can't refuse her and they end up sleeping in the same bed. She asks him why his face is red if they were just lying next to each other. The protagonist is sincere and tells her that there are many things he wants to ask her, but he doesn't know if it will be the right thing to do. If I were him, the first thing I would ask him would be what the hell he plans to do to her. He, very foolishly, asks her if she likes books. She replies that she does, as they help her learn many things. Her mother collected books, so she gives them a lot of attention. The books told her many things, but they never told her about her mother's illness, the coughing, the vomiting of blood, the weight loss, and then the death. She was reluctant to lose any more precious things, and since then she has always been alone. She tells him that since then she feels very lonely when she sleeps. He asks her another question: why did she want him as her husband? She says that in books there is a lot of talk about love, affection and couples. She only knew about affection from her mother, so she wanted to learn about the rest from him. Luckily, he turned out to be kind. She was afraid he would be too scared to see her. He tells her that he feels bad for the loneliness she is going through, but that what he is doing is just work and he can't feel emotionally attached to her. She corrects him, telling him that he doesn't need to be so polite when talking to her. That said, the conversation ends. After a month has passed, it seems that the two spend a lot of time together. The protagonist comments that he spent the quiet days bringing joy to the dragon girl. He also doesn't understand what it's like to be in a couple, but even with his greater ability, he shows her affection like family. After that time, his legs are now fine. Then, the protagonist mentions that he must finish his task. That said, without the dragon woman noticing, he checked all the rooms in the house. He noticed that there were signs of a fight in all the rooms, which would explain all the scars the dragon girl has on her body. Finally, he arrives at one last room, which is securely locked. Upon entering, he notices that there is nothing there. The protagonist, seeing a piece of paper on the floor, realizes that whatever was there has already been taken away. And upon closer inspection, he notices that there was a notebook. Reading it, he realizes something when suddenly a voice behind him appears. It was the dragon woman, who kicks him against the wall. She tells him that there is nothing else left in there, that everything was stolen and there is nothing of value left. She tearfully tells him that she trusted him, to which he replies that she is making a big mistake, because the diary is the proof of it. The protagonist realizes that the people who went in there left nothing behind except the results and products of the investigation. They left the diary because it had nothing of value. However, he tells her that it is much more valuable than the hidden results of the investigation, because in the diary they wrote about the moments he enjoyed with the dragon woman. The protagonist tells her that homunculi usually do not have names, as they are usually codenamed to avoid having any emotional attachment due to their disposable nature. Despite that, she was given a name and raised as a daughter. The most precious thing her mother had was not the results of the research, but the most precious thing was her, namely the dragoness named Aif. She asks what he has been protecting so far. The protagonist tells her that he has heard that almost 100 years ago radical alchemists were taking various research from this place. The alchemists' sins serve as a lesson. She was hurt by it, and it is something she cannot forgive. Honest compensation will not make up for it. The protagonist tells her that his job was to investigate the current conditions of that place. If he is very accurate in his report, no one should come back to this place. The protagonist thanks her for everything. Having said that, he tells him that he will be retiring. Before leaving, the protagonist apologizes for having betrayed her trust, which he surely became a bitter memory for her. Then he decides to leave, but suddenly she stops him by telling him that he will not be a bitter memory at all. She tells him that the memories she spent with him and her mother are very, very precious to her. The protagonist is left sad and looking at her, looking to the side, saying, "Sorry to stop you, please don't forget him from me." When suddenly, the protagonist grabs her arm telling her to go with him. She removes her arm telling him that the deal they had was until he recovered. She makes it clear to him that they were only a temporary couple, that there is no need to worry about her. The protagonist, determined, tells her that if that is so, she now knows him well and he knows her now. Then he asks her to become his wife. She replies that she cannot. The protagonist is discouraged. She stretches out her arm telling him that an equivalent change is not enough, that from now on everything he knows she wants to see with him, not just hear it. The protagonist makes a comment about whether it is true what they say about the greed of dragons. She ends up asking him for a promise to do things together, to which the protagonist accepts, thus ending this nice story. Give the video a like if you made it to the end. Take care for life and God bless you.